Ways of knocking down the old building and getting the new one up. Ladies and gentlemen, I can be speaking of only one person, Anne Garland. You want me to bring a chair down here, Anne? Yeah. Yep. Okay, no worries. Ladies and gentlemen, Anne's just going to sit there below the stage and I'll give you a microphone, Anne.
Welcome everybody. Welcome everybody. Good to see a lot of people here today to help us with our cause. Hello, Riccio workers. Chris? No, only one Chris here. Okay. All right. Good afternoon everybody. Thank you for joining us today. It's wonderful to see so many people here once again at Bankstown RSL supporting such an important cause. Today is about more than just gathering together for lunch. It's about supporting the well-being of our community and helping organisations that are doing important work across Australia. The work of Gotcha4Life continues. I'm losing my seat here. The Gotcha4Life continues to make a real difference by promoting emotional and fitness.
You want a smaller one?
Yeah, let me sit down. Felt like I was being bucked off that one. Fitness and encouraging people to have conversations that matter. We're also proud to support dementia research throughout the Royce Simmons Foundation, a cause that touches many families and reminds me, pardon me, but my husband's got dementia, how many important ongoing research support truly are. Your generosity today helps make the work possible. Every ticket, every donation and every show of support contributes to something meaningful. So thank you for being here. Thank you for your continued support, and I hope you all enjoy this afternoon. And I can't say go the Bulldogs, what a sad story. All right. What's your size? Are you pretty? I was only going to say, you know, you're tight asses, open your wallet, but I didn't. Okay.
I'll say that for you. Thank you, Anne. Actually, as Anne walked away, am I allowed to say it? She wanted to say, don't be tight asses, open your wallets. She didn't want to be rude, so I said, I'll do that on your behalf. So open your wallets, everyone, if you can. We know it's tough at the moment, but some incredible causes. So if you want a raffle ticket at any stage, just put up your hand, and our beautiful staff are coming around. There's also lucky door prizes, so you would have got a little ticket at the front as you came in. So there's 4 of those. We'll get to those throughout the afternoon. And there's the auction later on as well, Maroon.
Absolutely. So. And as I always say, this is a company that we deal with in Victory and Wollongong, LGM. They have the best memorabilia, beautifully block mounted, beautifully framed, and with certificates of authenticity. So if you're buying memorabilia, it's the stuff to buy and you can buy with confidence. I just wanted to welcome our other directors that are here today. Chairman Tony, who is here. Anne is here, as we just spoke to Anne. Keith and Philippa. Philippa, I didn't know you were on the board now. Congratulations, Philippa. Yes, indeed. It's good to have friends in high places, and I've got Philippa there on the board now. Why don't we get our first panel up, Anne? What do you reckon?
Let's do it. And I think you're being a bit mean to Woodsy saying the desperation comment. So, Woodsy, I love you. I love Luke Keary as well. Is Dave Riccio here yet?
He's just not here yet. He's following her. But he said he'll just...
in. Let's get these boys up.
Yeah, come on up, boys. Luke Keary and Aaron Woods. Our idea was to have Luke and Woodsy and David are on a Channel 7 show called the agenda setters. We were going to try and get the whole panel, but he's here, is he? Okay.
He's in the car park.
He's just parking his Ferrari in the car park. All right, boys. Well, firstly, welcome.
Here he is. He's coming in now.
Oh, David, right on time.
Round of applause for David.
On you, Dave.
Everybody.
There he is. Here you go. David Riccio, ladies and gentlemen.
He's also a multimedia star, works for the Daily Telegraph, Fox League.
Thank you for
Triple
coming,
M,
my friend.
As well as Seven.
Well,
everyone's sort of thinking, who's this idiot that's come in late?
you know you're someone special when you.
What's the breaking news?
Okay.
That's not on.
Here we go. Yeah.
Some of your best, Maroon.
Maroon's done a good job here so far.
No, the great game never sleeps. So I was down in the car park writing a story. Damien Cook has signed with Castleford in the English Super League. So, Dragons fans, Cookie's gone.
Dragons are celebrating right now.
Yeah. Oh, you're good.
Sorry.
Just like they were when you left.
That was 5 clubs.
So, David, just to be clear, what the thing was with this microphone, you've got to turn them on, that's all.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So, guys, we're here for Gotcha4Life. We're going to get to that and talk to that. But while we've got you blokes also involved in the game through Channel 7, Triple M, Code Sports, etc., let's talk about some of the dramas and some of the good things going on in the game at the moment. Anne's already mentioned it. Now, the doggies are in a real hole at the moment. But you know what I can remember? Let me start with you, Woodsy. I can remember on at least 3 occasions where going in at half-time, they're probably either in front or genuinely in the game.
Yeah, look, they're starting games well, Maroon, at the moment. I thought last night they were on top. The problem with them is they get up the field really well. But it's when they're that 10-metre zone, they just can't find a way to score. And a lot of chat at the moment about Lachlan Galvin, Matt Burton. Obviously, Matt Burton was a bit crook last night. He didn't make the game. They had young Sean O'Sullivan. Well, not young, but he's getting a bit older. But I'm not too sure if Lachlan Galvin, this is my opinion, I say quite a fair bit, if Galvin is actually genuinely a halfback. I think he's a 5'8". I think a young bloke to see the ship like that, it's probably too much on his shoulders. And I think if he can just go out there, worry about his game, then they'll get a lot better. And I feel that the coach is sort of the outside noise at the moment. It's really getting to him. Like last week, their main strike weapon is Jacob Preston on that right edge. He moves him across at the start of the game, and there was just no threat whatsoever. And Luke could probably tell you, there's a big difference to halfback and 5'8", isn't there?
Yeah, no, there is. I think Galvin did a really good job when they bought him. He was playing 5'8" at the Tigers. He was on the left-hand side of the field too, so he's doing a terrific job. When you throw a kid that age into the number 7, and Berto's a terrific player, but he's a genuine 5'8", so they're both very similar players. And then the Reid Marnie one's a bit strange for me. Like, I thought the captain of the club, you don't usually see captains of clubs get moved on, so there's obviously an issue there. But I like Bailey Hayward as a lock, which is a bit weird. And then, like Woodsy said, there's just so many changes. Like Jamin Salmon was playing hooker last night for the last 10-15 minutes. Bailey Hayward went to lock. Preston's changing sides. I think when Preston went to the bin, the winger ended up in it playing 4-man. I can't keep up at the moment with what they're doing, but they built their whole club around defence when Serrato got there, and everyone's been speaking about their attack, but I think it's their defence that has gotten a lot worse.
Dave, do you reckon they will make changes? Because I think it's unanimous. Everyone seems to say that Galvin is a 6, but they've got young Mitch Woods, who's injured at the moment. With Bronson and Crichton in the centres, there's probably no point moving Burton to the centres. So realistically, what's the chat around? Do you think they will make changes this year, or then move more players on? Like, what do you see happening over the next 6 months?
So, yeah, just on the Mitch Woods one, there's been a stack of questions about Mitch Woods and where's he at. And what the go with Mitch is, he was a very talented AFL and rugby union talent. And ultimately the Bulldogs did a really good job to sign him and get him into their system. But because he played those other sports, he hadn't done enough leg work, to get the load and preparation and physicality into his legs. And so when he went into an NRL pre-season training, he wasn't able, he broke down quite quickly. And he's been in that process of trying to get back, keeps breaking down constantly with hamstring problems. So the way it's been explained to me with Mitch Woods is we want him for 10 years, not 10 weeks, so that they won't be pushing him out there anytime soon. As far as changes are concerned, look, Kurt Mann and Max King, I anticipate, will come back in for Magic Round next week against the Sharks. Bigger changes, I've been a bit vocal about Stephen Crichton. I reckon you can play with him to try and get a sugar hit. But it didn't eventuate last night. Cameron Ciraldo was pretty scathing as far as his edge players are concerned last night. They're the centres and back rowers. He's going to New South Wales Cup on Saturday to watch them play. But if you actually look at Cup, they're pretty young as well. And so there's not... Jethro Renacama is about the only option in your outside back. So in a long-winded answer to your question, Em, I don't think there'll be many changes.
Yeah. Guys, probably just Aaron Woods, I might start with you here. Just very quickly, everybody, I want to tell you this Aaron Woods story. We had to go...
Which one?
The one were we in Melbourne and Wendell went missing? Was that Melbourne or Brisbane?
It was Melbourne. We lost Melbourne. We lost Wendell in Melbourne.
Yeah, we lost Wendell in Melbourne. He missed the ride back to the airport. He missed the plane, and he rang us when we got to the airport and said, "I'm just going to stay in Melbourne and take care of a bit of business."
No, but you're leaving the best part of the story out was when we flew down there. So we're flying down on the plane, and sort of like I don't know why, but Triple M didn't put us in the same three on the row. So we're one seat behind each other. And if any of you know Big Wendell loves Wendell. So we were sitting there eavesdropping on his conversation, and there was a beautiful, was it Canadian lady that he was sitting next to? And he thought the Big Dell would sort of get up and have a bit of a conversation with her and do his best. And he started telling her why he was going down to Melbourne for the day. And he just said he was part of the radio show. And he goes, I'm with this guy and that guy, but I'm the big deal of the show. Yeah. So I'm the star of the show, and poor old Maroon caught him out. And then the thing with Wendell is when you're around a big crowd of group of people, he's quite shy, isn't he? So he doesn't really say too much. And we did the commentary of the game. We commentated, I think, Melbourne Storm and Canberra Raiders was a semi-final. Melbourne lost. And then Dell's like, let's go get a feed. So we go and have a feed afterwards, which we didn't realise would be about 25 schooners as well. So we have a couple of beers with Wendell. He starts sort of breaking out, start the Big Dell shuffle, and a couple of Sheilas walk in the room, and that's when Big Wendell does his best work. And we sort of left at, midnight?
Yeah.
I think so that was a Saturday. Wendell got back to Sydney on Tuesday, and he had to rush out to film on Monday afternoon, so he missed that show too.
And he was so broke, he said to me, "Can I get an advance for the next gig we do at that club?" But anyway, just to wrap this up, he decides this one morning we're going to have... he goes, "We're going to go to the buffet. The Novotel and all, they have the great breakfasts." And
we're at the Hyatt, all-you-can-eat buffet.
Anyway, it's like, I'm not joking, $80 a head. He goes, "Let's just have it. And we'll put it on our invoice and Triple M will pay for it." I said, "Oh, you don't have to ask me twice. I was just going to go over to Macca's." So we go in there, I'm ordering an omelette and getting some bacon, and then this palooka comes back to the table with a fruit bowl size of Cocoa Pop. A fruit bowl full of Cocoa Pops. I said, "Mate, you're going to have to eat a lot of Cocoa Pops to get your $80.
The only reason why you had to shoot is because you had to put the card down to pay for it.
I did, and I didn't have plane back either. So you owe me $80, or you can pay in Cocoa Pops. Now, guys, let's talk about the Warriors. I think the Warriors are the team to watch at the moment. Two reasons I say that, not only because where they are on the table, but I feel like, Aaron, for the first time ever, they got a bit of depth.
Yeah, they do, and at the moment there's a bit of talk about Luke Metcalf. Is he staying at the club? Is he not? Tanner Boyd's done such a good job. As a half, you'd probably admire what he's doing there, Luke. He's just really owned in what he does best, and he's just doing it really well. I love their forwards. They've got a huge forward pack. The big signing 2 years ago was James Fisher-Harris. A lot of people thought that he's done, he's maybe at the back end of his career at Penrith, and they're happy to let him sort of go to another club. He's been enormous for those young forwards over there, young Leka Halasima, Dimitri Vaimunga, what he's brought to that side. And they've got players, Aaron Clark, he couldn't get a start at the Gold Coast Titans. Now he's probably one of the best lock forwards in the competition. For me, I love their coach, Andrew Webster. He's done a phenomenal job. He was in the Penrith system.
You had him at Oh no, you were gone from the Tigers when he was.
I actually had him coming through for Harold Matthews and SG Ball.
Yeah.
Well,
I just know he was in the Tigers at some point.
He's a good mate, Webby, but he's done such a good job, and he served a good apprenticeship under one of the greatest coaches of all time in Ivan Cleary.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting period for him. Obviously, Dave can probably shed a little bit more light on the Luke Metcalf situation. He's come back from the ACL, played 2 games, they lost both of them. Chanel Harris-Tavita's been really good for him, and they're going to have to make a decision soon on
Yeah, they are. Metcalf's contracted through until 2028, and they are about to re-sign Tanner Boyd, who's just been a goldmine for them. But Luke's pretty adamant that he wants to be a halfback and halfback only, so there's going to be an issue. He's going to have to move. And the thing is, Luke's still has a lot of appeal about him. So if I'm the Perth Bears, who have just been pretty ordinary as far as their ability to attract a marquee signing is, I'm just going bang straight away for Luke Metcalf, because he wants to play 7. He's a genuine marquee player. He's an exciting player. He puts bums on seats. So there is going to be it will be a test for Webster too.
What about if you're Luke? Do you go to Papua New Guinea and go tax-free, baby? How good's that?
Well, yeah. Why wouldn't you?
Ooh.
You would.
100%.
Are you jealous you didn't go on the junket over to PNG? Many podcasters went over. So James Graham went over with the buy round. The Levels podcast, which has Willie Mason and Justin Horrow. And Hello Sport went over as well.
I thought James Graham was bad, but then you're chucking Willie Mason on top. I'm glad I didn't go on that trip. Yeah, look, I've been there 5 times, Emma. It is a great part of the world. Would I play up there? Probably not. Like, I don't know if I could take my kids and my wife up there. It's you're in a compound, and as good as the money sounds, I'm pretty happy living here in Sydney. It's the greatest place in the world.
I got one for you. I've just left Dean Young's press conference, the interim Dragons coach, and he's raised the prospect he wants the return of 5 minutes sin bins. So have a think about that for a second. And he's basing it on the fact that the speed of the game now is so breakneck speed that when a player goes for 10 minutes, there's just such a massive momentum shift as far as the opposition, the 13-man team, just being able to pile on points, and the game's practically over. He's saying for those less contentious acts of foul play and high tackles, the ones that are not so bad, 5 minutes is enough. It still penalises the team, but it doesn't ruin the game. Thoughts?
Yeah, I don't hate it. I just look at like obviously they're in a situation where it hurts them more. Like I watched that Manly Penrith game last week when Cogger got sin bin at the end, and Penrith dominated.
He used the Jacob Preston incident last night as an example.
But how do you determine what's a 5-minute sin bin and what's a 10-minute sin bin? That's the hardest problem.
Onus is on the referee, you're right.
I don't want to be doing that. The referees can't get the decisions right on the field.
And clearly the one he's hurting, Dean Young's hurting from, is Luciano Leilua on Anzac Day. Takes out Sam Walker. It was pretty blatant. I'm calling that 10. But Setu 2, the Dragons wing, goes and scores a try in that game, and he's hit high by Hugo Savala. No penalty to Savala. So he's complaining about the inconsistencies. Yeah. But I actually think it warrants plenty of discussion, given the changes in the game have changed so much since the 5-minute sin bin was eradicated back in 1991.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think all the professional fouls, probably 5 minutes will do it. It's funny, I ran into Brock Schaefer during the week.
Brock Schaefer's in at the NRL, and he's in charge of the rules and policing the rules within the game.
So we're in there and we're talking about Victor Radley. Obviously had the 4 charges on Saturday night, and then he was in at Fox on Sunday when he didn't get charged at all on the Sunday. And I said, mate, how does that process work? And he said there's 5 or 6 guys on an independent committee that's separate to the NRL. No one at the NRL finds out if they get charged until after the fact. And he said most weeks they'll go through and say there's 5 members. He said a lot of times it'll be a 3-2 vote. So, someone gets a grade 1 or 2. He goes, it's never, ever unanimous. That whole system's broken. Like, it's easy to see the judiciary system's broken, but I think the 5-minute sin bin would be, especially professional fouls and late hits.
Guys, what about, obviously we've got in the NRL at the moment 2 clubs with interim coaches. We probably assume that Kieran Foran's going to get that job at Manly. But for the Dragons or for any other club that decides to punt their coach in the course of this season, there isn't a lot of coaches that have coached at NRL that are sitting on the bench. Obviously you could say Flano now and Brad Arthur, but the rest of them are guys that just want to have a crack at being an NRL coach, Luke, but haven't done it yet.
Yeah, I think we're seeing like a new age now. The Des Haslets and that are gone. A lot of those successful coaches are getting a bit older, but there's a new generation coming through. The Josh Hennays that come in, Cam Serrato a few years ago. Matt King's been there. He's been an assistant for 10 or 12 years. Ben Teo's probably done his apprenticeship now. Like, Dave, you'd be able to speak to more. There's probably 10 of these guys.
Boyd the Origin already.
Yeah, Boyd Cordner will be there or thereabouts in the next couple of years.
Will be the assistant coach of the Perth Bears, and he may be the head coach if Mel doesn't get to the start line.
Do you think that will happen?
I don't have the money to put on Mal. Like, I can't back him to be there.
Wow, so you don't think he'll make it to the...
Look, he's saying he will, but I'm not convinced. I'm really not convinced. There's so much drama there. They've botched it. They've completely botched it.
Controversial.
Well, I mean, we've had this...
Maroon's a big fan of the Bears.
No, I mean, I just can't...
Hey, did you just wind him up? Watch this go. Ready?
I put this to them through the week, but it's a little bit like, you know, certain sports you can't say anything bad about. The Mal Meninga thing. They give Mal Meninga the job as a head coach. The last time Mal Meninga was a head coach was 2001. That's 25 years ago. This poor side from Perth. Then they tacked the North Sydney Bears onto them. We've already seen mergers don't work between 2 clubs separated by 4 suburbs. Now they want to merge 2 clubs separated by the Nullarbor Plain. I mean, this thing, David Riccio, is doomed. It's doomed to failure. Yeah. And if I was Mal Meninga, I'd run.
Hold on, I'm going to jump in. They have the great James Bracey on their board, who is a good friend of mine at Channel 9, one of his mates back there in the crowd as well. So if Bracey's involved, I'm not writing anyone off. I know they've had their challenges, certainly, but I think we should have some faith. I believe in Brace.
Yeah, look, I think it's a good... in opposite to Maroon, I think it's absolutely pivotal that they're actually called the Bears. And they're not called the Perth Pirates. Or
you've got him standing up now, Dave.
Because they've actually got a supporter base ready to go.
Oh, they've got a supporter base here, okay, but the people in Perth, where there's 2 million people, are like, okay, who are the North Sydney Bears? I'm 30, so they haven't played a game in my lifetime, and why don't we just get a team? Either they get a team or they don't get a team. If you want to bring the Bears back, bring them back. But don't shackle them to the poor Perth side. Let them have a decent crack at it. Am I right?
No, I reckon it's good, mate. I reckon, honestly, I'll never agree with Maroon. But look, you've been pretty harsh on Mao. He's an absolute legend of the game. He's an immortal. He's been the Australian coach too, don't forget, Maroon. It's not like he hasn't been coaching for a long period of time. But I think the challenges that he's having to be able to sign marquee players, to high-performance staff, recruiters. He's lost his right-hand man, and was David Sharp. There's a lot of problems over there, and I really hope he does see the start line, because I think he's great for our game and great to bring up a new team, but it doesn't look too good, does it, Dave?
Just as far as Manly, you mentioned Manly is concerned, Maroon, Kieran Foran will get done there. He'll be the head coach. That's case closed. But what they're trying to work on right now is who is his assistant, and they want to put a senior assistant next to him. So that's their current process. And then once that's formalised, they'll be able to announce it. So it could be a Flano, it could be a Brad Arthur, it could be a more senior coach alongside Kieran Foran going forward.
Now, before we wrap up with all of the footy chat, Maroon mentioned at the top that we are here for a great cause, raising money for Gotcha4Life and also for Royce Simmons, who's down the front. Big hello to Royce. I've got to know Gussie and Kel, who's here at the back, really well with all the stuff that they do with Gotcha4Life, and I think it's a really important message because it doesn't matter whether you're male or female, young or old, doesn't matter what job you do, I think everyone will have their challenges over their life at some point. And I think something that I've learned from them is, it's not just, we use the term mental health, but this, I think, they've sort of shifted the language to mental fitness, because you don't have to be really struggling and in a bad place. It's just about putting the 1%ers and the foundations in place in your daily life, so to prevent yourself to getting into a really bad place. So it's just like going to the gym and working on your guns like Maroon does, but you just have to work on it. It's fitness. There's no difference between your physical fitness and your mental fitness, and that's what it is all about. And yeah, I know the boys, I don't know what they're happy to share, but I'm sure something like retiring and transitioning into life after footy, I'm sure that had its challenges. I'm sure injuries, I got to witness firsthand with my brother playing for the West Tigers how injuries affected his mental health. So yeah, I'm sure they all have their own personal stories to share.
Yeah, well, I've been lucky enough to know Gussie for 10 years. I got to work with him on a show for a year. He's a big mentor to mine. I speak to him basically once a week. Challenges, I've left 4 clubs. People like you, they don't like you. You read a lot of things. I developed a little bit of anxiety when I was leaving the Bulldogs to go to Cronulla Sharks, and I held it in for such a long period of time, and it really built up and it bottled inside, and I became quite frustrated and I was real agitated. And it wasn't until when I sat down and had a conversation with Gussie that, you know, us as males, we've got this stigma that, we've got to come across as big, tough, and not speak about our problems. I'm telling you, it's the best thing you'll ever do is get it off your chest. Get out there, speak to one person, then that person, look, even if they don't say nothing back to you, it just feels good to get it off your chest. So what Gussie and Kel have done at Gotcha4Life, it's phenomenal. Anytime we get an opportunity to come in and speak about what we can do, you know, I always just jump at it. So they've been a huge help for me, because I went through my own problems throughout my career. I've been lucky enough with my transition, but yeah, there were some times where I was in some deep, dark places. Yeah,
Same as Aaron. I don't think anyone's immune to it. I think everyone goes through different stages and patches through their life. I'm no different. I'm sure everyone in here is the same. And in footy, it's magnified. Obviously, your ups are really high and your downs can be really low. It can be played out in the public forum. It can be played out privately too. So, gone through a lot of different things myself and seen a lot of young players go through it. And I tend to agree with you, Emma. You put the right support systems, you put the right routine around things, and as Woodsy said, there's always someone to talk to. So one thing I learned through footy, like no matter what you're going through, someone's been through it before. And I love what Gussie's built and what he's done over the last period of time. It's been awesome to be involved in.
So I was just about to say just how extraordinary it is. How I would think 90% of the room love their rugby league, and what rugby league has been able to do is create a platform to have so much influence and powerful meaning among communities and men and women. And it has to be only a matter of time before we have a mental fitness round, where again we're just continuing to raise awareness for such important topic of discussion. Gotcha4Life has been around for a long time now, and just changed and shifted that narrative and landscape about how important it is to continue to talk and be open and honest as men. But I think, and the NRL have supported different foundations along the way, but it's only a matter of time before we have a full mental health round.
That'll be a good thing too. Ladies and gentlemen, these guys are all part of the Triple M stable and the Channel 7 TV show, The Agenda Setters. I know they're working behind the scenes to get me a start on there as well. Aaron Woods,
won't be long.
And David Riccio have given up their time today to be here with us. They're great mates of ours. Please give them a round of applause. And we'll let you talk your heads off for a couple of minutes. And